Hi everyone, and welcome to this week's McVeigh Critiques. This is the weekly session where people upload photos to a Dropbox folder, and I put them into Lightroom and just share a few thoughts on the picture, any thoughts on how you could improve it, or what you would do when you're reshooting it. So this week we've got five shots and two versions of one, so making six in total. So let's kick off. What we're going to do again is limit it to 2.5 minutes a shot, and I've got my little trusty timer ready to go. So let's press play on that. Here we go. I've turned it down a bit this week because it was a bit on the noisy side last time. So here we go. Here's an elephant. So let's let that render in Lightroom to begin with. There we go. So first impressions, really nice sharp skin texture on the elephant. Quite like the action that's going on here with all the hay flapping around in the wind. Yeah, you can see there's loads of detail going on here. Also, the background and this foreground rock here are nice and soft. So whoever's shot this has taken it at a reasonably wide aperture. Let's have a look and see if we can see. F2, right? Okay, 200mm f2. So that's a really fast lens. So yeah, probably as blurry as you're going to get with a 200mm lens. So yeah, it really makes a big difference. See how it's jumping out to you. If anything, what you could do is maybe try to darken down the surroundings slightly with a big net, because this fence here is quite bright, the rock's quite bright, so it's just pulling the eye away from the elephant a little bit. So maybe that, and then to counter it, let's just knock it down quite a long way. What we can then do is brighten the whole shot up so the middle becomes a little bit brighter. So you see how much more the elephant stands out, and then you can have a little play with the size of the midpoint. Maybe you don't want too much an elephant dark. Now if you wanted to darken the rock at the bottom, maybe grab hold of a grad, which is this little chap up here. I'll just bring that down a little bit. It's just to make the elephant stand out a little bit more. Okay, so that's the colour version. I'm not going to dwell too long because it's the same one, but if you look at the black and white, it's got loads more texture and it's loads more gritty. I know is it Nick Brandt who does these black and white shots of desert animals and African animals and stuff like that. This has got that sort of appeal to it. You've got loads of texture and detail in here, and it looks like the crop's a bit tighter as well, so you're not losing so much of this rock at the bottom. It's definitely just a shot of an elephant. Yeah, technique spot on. I mean, I don't know, I'm not really a landscape purist, as anyone who knows me would tell you, but maybe if its eye was open, it might have a bit of a difference. Okay, so the whistle's just gone. I don't think I'd change this one too much. Maybe just see what happens if we lower just the highlights on this. So if we bring the exposure and then the highlights down. Again, it's just to make the elephant a little bit more dominant, all helping it stand out a bit more. That kind of thing. Okay. So yeah, I think really good shot. Whoever did that one, don't know who it is. If you didn't know, this is anonymous. I don't know who's uploaded these things. I could go onto Dropbox and find out, but that kind of defeats the object. Right, on to the second shot. And this looks like a nice black and white landscape. So first thing is, there is a bit of clipping going on these pools of light here. I've got the option up here switched on where it shows clipping. So if we switch that off, it's one of those where probably a quick play with the slider in a raw file on the highlights, if you drag that back, it would recover those burnt out bits. So it's not a massive issue, but just be careful. If you did print it, it would look like just a big white featureless blob wherever it clips. So try and keep it down to the minimum. What I really like about the shot is the mottled light you've got in the foreground. and also this texture up here in the clouds. So you could probably make a little bit more of that. So I'm going to get a grad out, and it looks like I've already been on the sharp. There we go. So to get a bit more texture into the clouds, you can add a bit of contrast, see how much difference that makes already, and a bit of clarity, and that will really make the texture pop out. But you might notice you start to get a bit of noise coming in, so it's maybe worth putting a bit of noise reduction on. There, just to stop it going a bit rough around the edges. Okay, and if you look at this, oh crikey, I think I went over on the elephant, so let's keep going. I did a little recording before which went wrong, so I've probably already been on and done this, but I'll do it again. Just get another grad on the lower part, and I just want to bring out these bright points and dark points. And again, it's another case of a little bit of clarity, a little bit of contrast, and this time I'm going to bring the highlights up, and it just makes the foreground that a little bit brighter. Okay. So compositionally, I think you've got a beginning, a middle, and an end in a landscape shot, usually. And in this one, the beginning would be maybe a track, which creates a lead line, a boulder, a sheep. Rock's the usual one, isn't it, in a landscape? So here you've got the nice middle, which is this sort of hedge and the lovely fields and mottled effect, and the background, which is the hills, and your sky. So it's 2/3 there, I think. I probably would have tried to find something in the foreground. I tend to, if I'm shooting over a hedge, I tend to wander down and find a gate or something like that, just to give it that middle, that foreground bit rather than the middle bit. Let's see what would happen if we added a big net to it. Starts to get a little bit more dramatic and a bit more enclosed, which is probably, I don't know if that's what the photographer intended, but there you go. Well, let's just have a look at the before and after. So I've gone a bit over the top of the drama there, haven't I? But hopefully it's there to a straight point. Okay, so let's have a look at the next one, which is a church. Right, so we don't need a before and after on this one because we ain't done anything yet. So let's just switch the proofing off. Right, so whoever's uploaded this, it's his TIFF, so it's a big old file. You don't need to upload a TIFF, you can do JPEGs. I think it's really nicely processed, quite like the muted green you've got on there. If you look at the foreground here, that's all nice and sharp. Good detail in the yew trees here. Really nice detail in the church. It's a lovely church. Never seen one quite like it. I mean, these small stones really stand out. So yeah, great processing. I think it's a classic case of a little bit of a vignette might help it along. So let's just add that in. How does that look? Just do before and after. Yeah, I think so. Because what you've got is this path leading you into the church, and you've got the door there, and everything's up the middle. Now, so I think the vignette is appropriate. Would I do anything with the colour? It's a bit of a taste thing, isn't it? The vibrance on this, but I mean, I might just go a little bit more on the vibrance to get these greens looking a bit meaty, and it's brought out this orange as well. I think the main thing is, if I was reshooting this, what you've got is a gate which is blocking the. It's not actually overlapping the church, so that's a good thing, but it's blocking the eye from using this path as a lead line. So maybe if you could have shot from a bit lower down and opened the gate up and gotten a bit closer. So the gates, maybe this is at what, 30 degrees. Maybe if you got it to 60 or more, the gate, this bar here, would act as a lead line towards the church rather than blocking the path. That way you could have used your dodge tool to brighten the path up and create a nice bright lead line going up the middle. But overall, I mean, really good processing on this one. I mean, this is going to look great in print. You're going to be able to reach out and feel like you can touch this church. It's on par with the elephant shot in that respect. It's got that nice, rich texture going on. But yeah, I think if you can go back to this church, just push the gate open a little bit and try and use it to introduce the photo, because it's sort of blocking off a bit. In fact, if you got really close into this plaque, you could probably get these words looking really big. Okay, oh, that's next one. So what we got next? Massive looking fountain somewhere. Well, I mean, great that you can see the people, because it gives you an instant sense of scale. I mean, those people are probably normal size, they're not Oompa Loompas by the looks of it. So that is a serious fountain. And it's a really bright day, so it's quite tricky conditions. So you've done well to expose it. What we got? We've got f5, 16th of a second, ISO 400. So that's pretty much frozen water. Okay. So going for a square crop, which is quite interesting. I would say that this part where the tree is doing nothing for me. So were I there, I'd probably have panned, as in rotated the camera to the left, and got more actually the fountain, the water's going from right to left, so I'd probably shot this with the fountain on the right hand side. So let's just have a look at what a crop could do. If we got rid of this tree, put the fountain on the outside there. Okay, click done. I'll just switch to igniting up, I think I did it before. So you can see now that it's going up that side and it's moving to the left. So I think that would work better. I have no idea what was over here. It might have been the Great Wall of China for all I know. But looking at the shot, I think, as you do with portraits, if someone's looking to the left, you probably leave more room on the left. If you're looking to the right, leave more room on the right. It's that kind of thing. It's great to have the people in. Let's just uncrop it. Done. Yeah, I like the people. One thing I've noticed is it looks like a weir here. So I'd have been going around the side of this tree and see if I could get a shot of this weir in the foreground with a fountain in the background. Okay. But yeah, what a great thing to see. Where is it? Let me know. So we're going to have a look. And finally we got a dog. Let's have a look. So we zoomed in a bit there. Let's have a quick look. Oh no, that's a full screen shot of it. Just one tip actually, if you press Shift and Tab, Lightroom hides everything. If you press Shift and Tab again, I think it brings it all back again. So it's quite a handy little shortcut to have. So I'll Shift Tab back. So that's going to hide everything, and I'll bring my tools back in. There we go. So, do you like the fact you can see the face on this one? It's not a very big shot. What size is this? When we zoom in, there's not a lot there. So great to have a dog's tongue out, active eyes. You can see where its paws are on its back legs, so you can see the movement in the thing. Now, if you compare the texture of this to the church, it's obviously a different subject. This looks like we've had a lot of noise reduction added to it. What ISO were we at? 400, so probably wasn't needed. But the fur's gone to this sort of softer, painterly texture, which, well, it's a taste thing. But if you can avoid doing that, you'll get much more nice texture. If we go back to the elephant, let's just get this. If you compare, come on, Lightroom, you can do it. it is slow. To compare this rich sort of texture of the elephant skin. Now, if we added a lot of noise reduction, let's do that to it. See what happens. You get this sort of smoothing out effect going on here. I think that's what's happened to this dog. So, if you can avoid, it's best avoided if you can, these noise reduction, just because it takes away texture. The second thing is the whistle's gone. I'll keep going. If you look along here and there, that's where the shot is, and this bit down here and up this side, there's not a lot going on, is there? So let's cut to the chase, as they say in the movies. There we go. How about that? Something on those lines. Let's get the dog. So rather than having, I can see what you're trying to do with this shot. You were trying to show the jump and everything like that, but it did leave a lot of empty space, which wasn't adding to the shot. From this, I think you can still tell that it's jumping over a feature. The other thing is probably a lot of stuff going on in the background. So if you can, I know you're shooting at f5.6. If you do have the capability to shoot at 2.8 or even wider, that would massively help, because it will blur out all this stuff in the background. So let's just add a vignette. Let's see if that's going to help us get rid of some of these distractions. Maybe just get the brush out and try and brighten the dog up. We see there's similar sort of things going on with this and a couple of the other shots. But there we go. That kind of thing, just to make it more of a dog shot. I mean, I think the coolest thing is the face, so it's done a really good job of capturing that. Okay. So just be really, really, really careful with your processing. Okay. Right, I think that's the lot for this week. Oops. Just minimised it by accident. Yeah, so quick summary then. Lovely elephant shots. Let's zoom out. Looks great in black and white. I think it's a more powerful shot than the colour one, and using your f2 lens, you've isolated it really nicely. A landscape shot which probably lacks a bit of foreground interest, but has some nice speckles of light, and you can make something quite dramatic out of it if you want to. A beautifully processed church shot, which with a bit of vignetting and maybe a replaced or just slightly opened gate, I think would be slightly stronger. A fountain I'm really jealous of. That's amazing, but I think this tree isn't really adding to the feel of it, and I've probably done a portrait crop with the water going from right to left. And a dog with a great looking face, but a lot of stuff going on behind it, and texture kind of killed by noise reduction by the looks of it. Okay, well thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing your shots next week. Cheers.